Hi, welcome back to the Connection Catalyst or the Connection Podcast, wherever you're joining me from. We are going to cover all things the freeze response today and give you some quick, easy practices to get out of that. Now, specifically, the freeze response around relationships shows up in a couple of ways. So the first way that it might show up is complete disinterest in maybe physical affection or physical intimacy. It can show up as being emotionally checked out. It can show up as feeling that resistance to actually talking about what your feelings and needs are instead of feeling safe enough to deeply connect. It can also show up on the flip side. So if you're deep in a freeze response, you may be deeply dissociated and be seeking unhealthy methods to soothe yourself. And this may look like having too many glasses of wine, or it actually, on the flip side around physical intimacy, can mean that you have a stronger desire to use physical intimacy as a way to dissociate or distract yourself from the discomfort of your feelings or feeling any kind of negative emotion at all. Sometimes even positive emotions can feel really, really overwhelming. So a lot of these symptoms around relationships can relate strongly to the freeze response. So we're going to give you some practices in real time that we can do together to get you out of that freeze response. The first thing that we're going to do is do a bit of assessment around how deeply in this freeze response you may be. There's a bit of a scale. So top tier freeze response would be something along the lines of, I'm struggling to do exercise at all. I'm struggling to communicate effectively. I really don't want to talk about anything that's happening either with my friends or my partner. I feel very separated from myself, to more general day-to-day freeze response symptoms, which could be I have the capacity to kind of move through the motions and get things done that I need to get done. I'm really, really effective at work. I'm really, really effective at communicating and connecting in some relationships, but not others. And particularly in my marriage, it can look like, everything's fine, honey. I don't have any problems, honey. This is a really common survival response out of the fight, flight, fawn, freeze responses for people who resonate with having an avoidant attachment style. So if you want to learn more about the avoidant attachment style or anything related to that, head on over to my Instagram page. I share a lot about attachment styles, moving out of them, and building secure attachment, particularly in your marriage if you are looking to reconnect and repair and master connection. So what I will do is we'll start with top tier dissociation, top tier freeze response. So you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling disconnected, and you don't even know where to start. And the thought of somatics at all makes you just want to run away. The thought of movement, the thought of connecting with your body, the thought of coming home into your body just feels too overwhelming, and you'd rather scroll on Netflix or go have a glass of wine. So imagine that that's where you're at right now. We have so many somatic tools at your fingertips, but what we really need is a bridge to get even when anywhere near your body, even if you're even wanting to use somatic tools at all. So what we're going to do is start super small. What that means is super small is starting with curiosity. Because if you're in resistance, if you're in a deep freeze response at all, the last thing that you want to be engaging with is something that means that you have to sit in your body, that you have to associate, that you have to communicate really, really effectively when you're not feeling safe. So let's start small and then work our way up to the more hard-hitting freeze response solutions. So if we're starting small and you're really in a deep freeze response, we're going to give you small bridges back towards connection. So I guarantee you, no matter how deep of a freeze response you are in, you're going to be able to feel your fingertips. So even if you're walking around the kitchen or if you're walking around at work and you're feeling like, you know, I'm wildly dissociated, I know I should be probably responding to a text message, or I should be communicating that I'm not happy about something, but I'm worried about it blowing up. What you're going to be able to do is just start touching your own body. You can start, you know, obviously you'll feel like your arms are out here and you're feeling like you don't want to associate, you don't want to engage with your nervous system. So you can start, first of all, clicking your fingers. You can start by tapping your fingers. This one's a really a big favorite of mine, the tapping of your fingers, because what you can also do is match it with a healthy affirmation. We don't want to go too deep with the affirmation straight up, because walking around telling yourself things are amazing and I'm happy and I'm loved, when you're feeling a lot of resistance to that and you don't feel safe in your body, is something that we can refer to as self-gaslighting. So let's not jump in straight to the deep end just yet. Peace is within me. Just wandering around, tapping your fingers, even if the affirmation doesn't come to you straight away. Peace is within me. Just tap the fingers. Peace is within me. If that's feeling difficult, you can just start small, tapping your thighs or gently with the edges of your hand, one way or the other. Just gently tapping and feeling the solidity of your hips, of your thighs, generally where we store a lot of repressed and stagnant emotion. Some practitioners will say we store a lot of trauma in our hips, but let's stay validating and curious around the freeze response and just say stuck feelings, stuck resistance, and yeah, just start small, however you're able to feel present, and give that feedback back to your brain that it's okay to start associating again. Begin there, because as we know, 80% of the nerves in the body are afferent nerves. That means they go from the body up to the brain. That's the way that they feed back. So if we're trying to bully our body into calming down and flushing out those deep, stressful responses and hormones from the body, then what we're going to want to be doing is feeding back from the body to the brain that it's okay to start feeling things again. So it's okay to start associating. So then next you can start doing gentle arm taps all the way up the arms, one at a time. And if you're still feeling resistance to any of these exercises, don't force yourself. Just stay in that curiosity first. Start with curiosity. And that sounds like I am feeling dissociated. I'm feeling unsafe in my body. I'm feeling like I don't want to connect. I'm feeling like I'm not ready yet. Just validating that it's safe to talk to your body and it's safe to communicate, and just start feeling as to where your hands want to go. Okay? So start feeling those sensations, and as you're watching this video, you're going to see my hands just move up and down, and you're going to be able to notice that we're doing it in an alternating fashion. You'll probably be familiar at this point with butterfly taps. Again, having that engaging with the right and the left side of the brain and the right and left side of vision really allows you to dissociate from those survival and freeze responses and engage back with association again and coming back into your body. Okay, so we've got the simple, we've got the organic, we've got the introductory tools back to coming back into freeze. From then, what you can do is start engaging more with tapping, more deeper somatic exercises, which would be a longer video, but we're going to get you some straight up heavy hitting and fast somatic tools for this short video to get you out of the freeze response for now. And the two that I'm going to give you, I want you to be using them with consciousness, and I want you to be using them with awareness and compassion for your body. But I want you to imagine that it's the end of a long day and you now have the ability and the time and the capacity to connect, but it's just the freeze response that is keeping you dissociated. So the two somatic tools that I want you to practice involve those deep tissue integrations, those deep tissue engagement practices. And I'm going to get you to imagine that you are standing in your shower. You've got the hot water on the back of your neck here, and you're in your contained, safe little space, and you've got the ability to engage with your body again before you go out and reset. These are the two exercises that I want you to practice. The first, engaging with this powerhouse of where 80% of the parasympathetic nerves of your body live. Parasympathetic is your safety nervous system, your rest and digest nervous system. So if you are in freeze response a lot, if you have been experiencing a lot of stress, anxiety, you'll notice that your digestive system either speeds up too much or slows down too much. And that if you have physical symptoms like that, it does affect your nervous system. So it's a bit of a catch-22, and we need to start reminding our body that we have a parasympathetic nervous system and that we can engage with it to be able to also manage stress and anxiety. So the two activities that I want you to practice with consciousness and awareness and self-love and compassion are, one, the karate chop right into the hip area. So what we're going to do is just first of all touch base on these 2 points. One, your parasympathetic nervous system that lives here in your belly that we're going to engage with and remind ourselves that that nervous system, part of our nervous system, exists and that we can activate it. And two, we've got here a really fantastic meridian point that is referred to a lot in Chinese medicine. It also is referenced around the Chinese medicine references around damp. And those references also having too much damp in your body relates to depression, it relates to stagnation, it relates to the freeze response. So these are the 2 points that we're going to be concentrating on in our somatics exercises. And so with our karate chop, we're going to also be engaging with the point in our hand that relates in tapping to the depression and anxiety points. Also relates to our gut and digestion. So interesting. So we've got another reference there as to the interlink. And we're going to be taking the karate chop and we're going to be chopping deep into these points of our hip bones in between our groin. And as the water is on the back of your neck here, as you're standing in the shower, you're just going to be gently swaying from foot to foot. And you're going to be chopping, take that karate chop, and you're just going to be chopping into those groin points. And it may look a little silly and it may feel a little silly, and that's completely okay. You're by yourself, the door is locked, nobody's watching. So just practice with it, take these 2 points, engage with that meridian point in your body, and just allow that to chopping motion to just rhythmically go up and down as you have the water resting on the back of your neck here. And I just want you to do that for as long as it feels comfortable. You may notice that the ruminating thoughts start to just stop. You may notice that the anxiety that has been flooding through your body just silences, and you'll notice that you'll feel quite soothed, almost like a lullaby. So as you're doing this, I want you to just stay engaged with these sensations. Notice the release of that tension as it starts to go out of your body. And I want you to engage with any thoughts that come to you as well. Thoughts of relief, thoughts of curiosity, thoughts of validation, maybe clarity on things you hadn't been able to notice before now that the stress is starting to downregulate out of your body. Just allow them to come and go as you're staying in this space of just downregulation and moving out of that freeze response and coming back into your body again. The second exercise is you can sit on the edge of a bed. You can sit on the edge of a couch here. But I want you to engage with this area of your body, again with compassion and awareness and conscientiousness. take this meridian point again, and you're going to do almost like a rolling tap, tap, tap over and over and over again. Lower, higher, lower, higher, around in a circle. Curiosity, compassion, loving tenderness, and care as you do this exercise. Because again, these exercises are what you would call more heavily engaged somatic exercises, but so engage with that curiosity and that tenderness of the thoughts and the relief, the deep sighs that may come. And after you've done that, this is where you would, as you find that safety and as you find that compassion and as you find that curiosity back in your body again, you find those deep sighs, that relief. You may feel like a desire to cry, to rest finally for the first time in the day. Then we have a ton of extra somatic practices that really leverage the peace and the clarity that can come from some of these exercises. But in the meantime, if you're not already part of Rise into Regulation, our absolutely groundbreaking connection mastery course, what you can do to begin with is journal after this. Take out a couple of pieces of paper. It doesn't have to be a fancy journal. And just start writing what learnings you found, what clarity you found. Start offering yourself the affirmations that perhaps you weren't ready to hear before. Affirmations that sound something like, yes, I've been going through a lot. I have compassion for that. My nervous system has reached its capacity. I feel, so give yourself a feeling and a need. I feel anxious. I feel sad. I feel stressed. I'm overwhelmed. And I need, so the need matching that would be, I need some compassion and tenderness. I haven't been giving myself that very much. I'm going to go make myself a hot cup of tea. I'm going to give myself some validation here, an extra communication to my body that I can meet myself with compassion and kindness in healthy and productive ways. And once I've done that, I'm going to feel a lot safer within my body, and I'm going to seek connection in a way that feels like an honor to myself, and in a way that I'm aware can meet the capacity of not only my needs, but perhaps the needs of other people that have been waiting to connect with us from that place of rest, from that place of down regulation, from that place of security. And if you want to learn more about this and getting out of freeze mode and into deeper connection in relationships, and also deeper connection with yourself, come and find me on Instagram at the.connection.catalyst and come and hang out. I'd love to chat with you, and thanks for being here. Big love.